Okay, while everyone is getting back in their seats, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. I'm going to go ahead and start reading the instructions for citizens participation because it's a lot. So, but everybody can be just making their way back to their seats and listening too. The Lexington County, we're now to 9.0. The Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees provides a time for citizens participation at each regular board meeting. There are a few guidelines, of course. First, in order to speak, you must be a parent or legal guardian of a student in Lexington County School District 1 or a resident and taxpayer of the district. Second, you will each have 3 minutes. Third, you may comment on an agenda item, school operations, programs, policies, or other matters of concerns. However, you may not speak about specific individuals, whether students or staff. There are other ways to bring situations like that to the board's attention. We want to give everyone who came here a chance to speak tonight. For that reason, board members will not reply to an individual's remarks. And if someone makes the point or points you came to make before you, if you would just state that you agree with the previous speakers and not restate every point, that would also help. We also ask you not to clap or make any comments either while an individual is speaking or after a speaker finishes, as that slows down the process considerably. If you wanted to speak tonight, we ask that you fill out a card, the card at the entrance, and we will include your name and address for our records. Those cards were on the sign-in table as you came to the meeting. If you have not filled out a card and still wish to speak, hold up your hand and we will provide you a card at this time. Does anyone else want to speak that did not fill out a card? Okay, we will move on. As stated earlier, you should not expect us to reply to your remarks. Although we may ask you a question as a board, we will not take any action tonight in response to issues you raised during citizens' participation. So tonight, we're going to start with Ms. Tammy Reynolds. She is going to address the board regarding the immersion program. She lives at 540 Reedy O. Smith Road in Leesville, and she has a child that attends Gilbert Primary. Ms. Reynolds?
Good evening. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. I failed to mention that I also have a child at Gilbert Elementary.
Oh.
So I have a first and a third grader in immersion.
Okay.
And I did submit some input as requested from the district, and I attended both community meetings. And so it's a little bit concerning that I have to ask my questions about this prior to the issue being taken care of. But basically, I would like to request a meeting to further answer questions and concerns about the immersion being split between the two schools, specifically with my third grader. She will be in a class that's only one English and one Spanish versus my first grader who has 2 Spanish and 2 English classes. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was going to be addressed, that there's a lot of concern out there, and I certainly share that, and I wanted to make sure there's going to be a forum where we can have those things addressed.
I'm now going to follow up with Mr. John Reynolds. He wants to follow up to the community meetings regarding, I think, the drawing of the lines in Gilbert. He lives at 540 Reedy O. Smith Road in Leesville, and he has children at Gilbert Primary and Gilbert Elementary. Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, I wanted to ask the same questions as far, not as what my wife just asked, but my question was, which I attended both meetings also. My biggest concern was about the white pieces of paper that we were given. Fill these out, fill these out, fill these out. I want to know if those issues were talked about, if those issues were addressed, what the outcome is. I know that there's no Q&A here, and that's fine. I intend on attending the next or the third and final reading. My biggest concern is that as a community, and we've been in Gilbert for about 15 years now, I want to make sure as a citizen of the town of Gilbert that these issues are at least going to be talked about. Not saying that I need to have a final one way or the other, but I think because I've done my due diligence by coming, being a presence, talking to y'all, I think that I deserve the same respect by these papers. That's all we were told when we were at that meeting. These papers. Well, I want information about the papers. We filled out papers, what our concern was, what our issues were. There's change. We embrace the change. We have to drive back past all 4 schools to go to Centerville because right now, that's where we are located to do that. That's fine. It's no big deal. You got to do what you got to do. My other concern is that I wanted to know and ask about the numbers of the class sizes. That was something that very much interests me. As my wife stated, we have 2 children in the immersion program. I want to make sure that the district is committing to me as a parent of these emerging kids as I committed to this 4 years ago. Right now, I don't see that commitment from the district because of the change and some of the things, but it may be, but I don't know because I don't know what's been addressed or hasn't been addressed. So that's my biggest concern here, and that's why I'm here
Okay.
as a concerned parent.
Well, thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Anything
But
else?
also, at the thing that concerns me, and this is more or less me as a father, that we open this meeting with a word of prayer. But yet, we can't do that in our school system. And to me, I think it's a sad, sad day that you took the Lord out of the school system. Whether that's law or not, I'm not sure how that, I don't know. But just wanted to make that comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. And you are just in time. The next item on the agenda, 10.0, is the second reading. We will be discussing the Centerville Elementary Zoning Plan, and it will be discussed in here. I don't know how much you know about the school board, but we are not allowed to discuss these things in private. We can only discuss them in this setting. So everything that you hear tonight is those are our discussions. We'll be hearing a presentation. I wanted to let you know, too, that all of the information that we have been given by the community members, the parents, the teachers, I believe has been shared. Ms. Hill, what's the last date that was shared with us? I think we all got them Monday through the most recent that you had received online and the papers from the meetings, correct? And so all the board members have received those as of what was current through last Monday. So we did receive your comments.